All right, I'm going to see if I can break my record time on this. My name is Scott Schertzen, and welcome to Tales from the Film Set and Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV, channel 249, 250. By the way, also welcoming Mr. JT McGuire, Mr. Ryan Regan, and also Mr. Robert Leckington. Please remember to download the Zingo TV apps in the App Stores via iOS and Android devices. When you download, make sure to rate, leave a comment. Both apps are free, so actually you can't be priced on that. Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and all smart TVs 2016 forward. How are you guys doing?
Did anybody get any of that? I just feel like I watched an advertisement for Micro Machines.
Actually, I learned from John Machida for a long time. He and I were Facebook friends, and then he defriended me for whatever reason. But yes, I did that. Nice.
You're talking politics.
No, go into that conversation again. But yes, I'm trying to do these things faster, just for the sole purpose of getting rid of the legal crap. But welcome to Tales from the Film Set here on Zingo TV, channel 249, 250. Today, we are breaking down some of the worst decisions that we have made in the world of acting and crew work, the lessons learned, the changes made, and then also we're going to be breaking down some of the weird stories that we've heard from celebrities who have openly gone and apologized for some of the movies that they've done. Some of them we are well aware of, people like George Clooney for Batman. Some of them you may be very surprised by, like Kate Winslet in Titanic. So we're going to be breaking that down a little bit, talking about the regrets that they have. But first of all, how you guys doing?
Don't everyone speak up at once.
From the weekend.
Yeah. Me and Ryan actually were doing the same thing this weekend, and I gotta say I had some of the most fun I've had in a very long time. So I'm coming here very happy and very relaxed.
Wait
Good
a
on
minute.
you.
What are we talking about here? What did you and Ryan?
2 days of WrestleMania, hanging out with friends, drinking beers, and watching people beat each other up in spandex.
Or at least, some people try to beat them up, and others just fall flat completely on their butts, aka Vince McMahon.
And it wasn't the owner who did that.
Yes.
Well, the good news for you guys is the fact that WrestleMania is in fact over, so you don't have to deal with it, because at the end of the day, I think you were very disappointed. JT, you especially, I think, were very, very disappointed by it.
Were you?
No.
Yeah, because you were sitting there complaining about the fact that, it was bleh.
Did I? No, I was complaining. Last week I was complaining about how they booked the show, and I wasn't very excited going in, but I gotta say they gave out a really good show. I was a lot more impressed with it than I thought I would be.
Yeah, I would say as far as like entertainment value, even though it is stretched over 2 nights now, so it does take up your weekend. But very few slogs in the roundup. Maybe only 1 or 2 matches I'd say could have been omitted, but everything was very entertaining. I certainly enjoyed Johnny Knoxville. That was the key point.
These matches
welcome to Tales of the Wrestling Scene here on Zingo TV.
But I should also point one of the nice things was a guy that came back named Cody Rhodes, who for 7 years had been left the company, and the reason he left is because he realized that his career was going nowhere, and he learned some life lessons from those decisions that really helped him out now that he's returned. And in such,
yes,
we too have taken on some.
Without Cody Rhodes, we don't have Leroy Patterson. So. Leroy that we interviewed, he's on the Go Big show. Who
Scott,
made
you do realize you just completely barred his segue.
It's like I made the segue, and then Scott just took the wheel and made a direct left with it.
We're not going to have JT for much longer. Let the man breathe.
But I wanted to give a shout out to basically our dude, Leroy Patterson. But yes, in regards to segues, I'll shut up. JT talk.
So yeah, and then he goes right for the cold drop off too. You are our host, sir. Thank you very much. So basically, I am sorry to say this, or maybe some people are happy for me to say this. This will be my last show for quite some time. I think I mentioned this on a previous show, but I have taken a job with a new company, and unfortunately, my schedule has changed. Damn, I don't have the button to shut off his camera.
I don't either.
So basically this will be it for me for a while. And I felt, I was asked like, hey, do you want to talk about a specific topic? And I said, I don't know if I talked about this in a while. So I want to tell my Star Wars tale, my Star Wars fan film tale. because this taught me some real life lessons that I've taken to this day in almost any business dealing I've done. So,
All right, let's
would
get
you?
comfortable.
So
I
before
know
I
the
begin,
story, so I know it well enough, but I want to make sure everyone else is feeling good about this.
so before I go, would any of you gentlemen like to bring up any of your past tales? All me?
Well,
All right,
before you,
cool.
no. Shine
So-
on, you crazy diamond. Come on.
So I haven't thought about this in a while, and basically when I decided one day, like, oh, I love this film stuff, I would love to do more of it. It happened to be around the same time that someone happened to be looking for an editor for their fan film. They had made a Star Wars fan film when they were in high school, and they never finished it. And they were paying $1,000 for someone to just sit down with them and finish it. And I thought, hey, this would be great practice. I'll get $1,000. This will be a great start. I'm already jumping into the film world. If I had only known what I was doing and who I jumped in with. For the purposes of this story, I won't say the person's real name. I'm going to refer to him simply as Rex. And Rex was a very unique character. Now, I'm expecting like just some guy to appear the first time with me, like just like I'm kind of a schmuck with a t-shirt and a jacket and stuff. This guy in my first meeting shows up in a full business suit, like the tie, the dress shirt, the Gucci all the way. And I'm just like, wow, how big is this film really going to be? As it turns out, this guy was all about image. Throughout the entire process with him, he would lie to me nonstop. So basically, the background of this was he had shot this in school, and they didn't finish it. But the school was so invested into this Star Wars fan film that they were going to pay $1,000 to see it finished and then premiere it at this world stage or something, whatever.
So it was the school's money, not so much his money.
Correct. So the school really wanted this, and I couldn't understand this. There's already some holes that even 19-year-old me was going, this doesn't sound right. But I was like, what do I have to lose? I'm just going to keep going forward with it. And deeper and deeper, I went down this rabbit hole. Every weekend, 8 hours, I would sit next to him and review this god-awful Star Wars film. I mean, it was made by high schoolers who were really not trying. They literally went to the local Halloween store whenever it was up, bought some costumes from that year, and then just decided we're going to stand in the back of our high school and just kind of hit each other. Basically, and I say they're fan films. They're recreations, very, very cheap recreations of the prequel Star Wars films.
That was going to be my question. Exactly when was exactly all this?
Well, I guess it's by
happening?
2004. If I did the math right?
Right. So this was 2004 when this came out. They even Revenge of the Sith didn't even come out yet. So it was the 2 films before that. And I'm watching this stuff. It is garbage. It's literally just high school kids just like with plastic swords doing this and that. And I'm like
Star Wars kid with the, the background.
Yeah.
And Rex, like I said, he would be there with me every step of the way, just sitting near me, grabbing me and going like, isn't this the greatest thing ever? Isn't this amazing? Like, don't you love this, man?
Like 3-foot roll.
Yeah, sure, whatever. I did this every week. And then as time went on, I'm like, maybe I bit off more than I can chew. This is both of them were a full hour film. I was still new to editing, so I wasn't really that great at it. And this guy was just becoming my life. And it's like, it went from like, this is fun to just getting the $1,000, just getting the $1,000, just getting the $1,000. And then I think like the holes started popping up. I'm like, so the school's going to definitely pay me for this, right? Oh yeah. They're definitely going to pay you. It's like,
and how far into the process was that question? I mean, how many weeks have you been doing that?
Maybe a month. I mean, this is 18 years ago, but I think maybe in a month into it where I finally was like, yeah, I want a guarantee. I want a contract. So what do you mean you want a contract? Like, oh, well, I want something signed. Oh, okay. So he comes back later on with a piece of paper already signed by the school. I didn't know about notary. What's
Notary
what's the word?
Publics.
Notary Publics.
Yes. I didn't know about them at the time, so I just figured, okay, I signed this and it's a legal document. He's like, okay, great. And he starts taking away. I'm like, well, I want a copy of that. Oh, I'll get you a copy. No, there's a copy machine right here. Let's do that right now. And I got my own copy of it and kept that. So a few months go by and I'm really burned out with this. I literally
a few months.
What did I say?
You
Did
said
I say a few months? Yeah, I stuck with this for like a good 3 or 4 months.
But still, no down payment, no money, no nothing.
Nope.
And 8-hour weekends on this?
Yeah. That my weekend was just like 7 to 8 hours with him in my room editing. And obviously we were getting that far. Oh yeah, that's right. Another hole in this plot. I don't know how many I'm going to keep with the audience on this one. I brought up Vitali before, but I don't think anyone really knows him very well. This is how I met Vitali.
Okay.
Because
this is how you met your stunt performer friend.
Correct. Yeah. So he was the original. Really good guy, yeah. He's the original editor for this film, and he was shooting additional scenes for this film. And what turned out was the main chunk of the film that they had reshot was on his camera, and he had something called a Digital 8, which was not a common camera at the time. Mm-hmm. So we didn't know this, and we didn't know how to get the footage off the tape. And I would ask this guy, Rex, so, okay, can I get in contact with Vitali? No, you can't talk to Vitali. He's not even in the country anymore. He left. Are you sure? Like he's just gone? Yeah, he's gone. You can't talk to him anymore. Okay.
He went to go get some cigarettes and never returned.
3 days later, I'm walking around my school, and this random skinny blonde comes up to me like, hi. I'm like, hi. My name's Vitali. Oh, really? So you're in the country.
Just flew back in.
How was your flight?
So again, I'll fast forward through this a little bit. Basically, this was just getting.
I'm enjoying every process of this.
This guy was crazy. This was like, if you think of every Hollywood lying schmoozer producer, this is the stereotype. Rex was the stereotype. He would drive me around in his fancy Ford Mustang. He would talk all these big game about all these other film projects we were going to do together. And I got so burned out with him. I remember waking up in the middle of the night once where I thought he was just there staring me in the face with a smile, and I just freaked out until I realized I was dreaming.
And the lightning crashes, and all of a sudden you realize it's just a hump of laundry on it.
It's bad news when you start dreaming about the editing process. Yeah.
I quit on him twice, and twice he talked me out of it. One time he started crying on my front lawn to convince me to stay. You can't do this to me, man. I have to get this done.
Was he wearing a suit and tie when he was crying?
He may have been wearing a suit and tie at the time that he was crying.
He took a tie and wiped his tears.
But it came down to the point where like I couldn't quit on. He was like an abusive boyfriend. He's just like he's not that bad of a guy. I'm just giving him a second chance. But it just finally came to the point. It's like I took the contract, and it's like I have to find out if this is actually real. I went to the school and showed him the contract with the signature of whatever school official had on it. And the principal looked at it and he said, this individual is no longer with the school. And I could tell you right off the bat, knowing the man's signature, this is nowhere even close to his signature. This is a forgery. He then proceeded to say, and the individual you're working on is a black stain on our school. I'm like, oof. Okay, so this is not a good situation. So, all right, I have my proof. He has lied to me. I do not want to work with him anymore. But I can't break away from him because he keeps trying to drag me back in. So it came down to the point where I took all his footage and brought it down to, I think, the police station on our school campus. And I said, all right, you're going to meet me here and pick it up at the police station, or I'm going to set this all on fire. I literally had like a stick of matches. I was going to set the entire thing on fire.
Extreme.
Like, what do you mean?
Considering this was your first gig, sure.
Yes. I will get to the lessons I learned from all this. So he finally came and he picked it up, but in the middle of all this, I don't know if I should admit this part. Vitali decided, well, he never paid me either, and I shot additional footage for him. So I'm just going to take these digital 8 tapes with his footage, and while we're waiting for him to show up, I'm going to just start recording over him randomly. And so Vitali's just sitting there recording over this footage.
Probably with a devil-looking grin on his face too.
Yeah, he's like one of the nicest guy in the world, but he's like, you don't screw with him. So we get there, and I'm giving him the footage, and I said, you get everything except the stuff that Vitali gave you. Why? Because we just deleted it all. Oh, you can't do that. And he starts a screaming match with me in the middle of the police station until the captain comes out to start talking to us. We explained the situation to him, and 2 funny things come out of this. One, he openly admits to the captain that he forged the contract with me.
Smart.
And even though it's a school campus, they are officers of the law. They are I can't think of the word at the moment, but they are actual police. So he A, admits that, and B, a little smaller to the story, he admits he doesn't have his driver's license even though he drove there.
So a petty crime after a big crime.
Yeah. So
Wow.
he has to walk out to go get his passport to prove who he is. And while he's gone, the captain looks at me and goes, okay, so that dummy just admitted to me that he forged that. So I have to ask you, would you like to press charges? And I was like, as long as he leaves me alone, I will not press charges. And that should have been the end of the story.
Should have been.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I won't go into the rest of it, but he did come back for me later on saying, like, that footage was mine and you had no right to delete it, and I'm going to sue you and I have the rights and blah, blah, blah. And luckily I did have a backup of it, and I just said, here's the backup, go away. And that was the end of it. But out of all that fun and that lovely tale and lovely 4 months or 5 months or however long I was dealing with them, I learned 2 major lessons that anyone should really know, especially in this industry.
Only 2?
3. I'll say 3.
Okay.
The first one is always have a contract. Anything in writing, just have it in writing, because you don't know the situation. Someone may try to backtrack. Someone may be lying to you. But if they have it on paper, if it is signed, you can bring them to court. They have to enforce it. Or even if it doesn't, even if it can't be enforced, at least there's proof of it. So at least you'd have a little bit of a safety for yourself.
Nowadays, email is just as good.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, anything in writing is actually good. That's actually something I learned later in my career. But yeah, it's like always have a paper trail. Paper trails will always save your butt. Unless you're the one committing the lies, and then you don't want to.
We speak to all audiences here.
Now I have 2 questions on this. Unless you're done.
Let me finish up. Let me finish up. 2, filmmakers are crazy, and you have to decide what level of crazy you're willing to take. I'm a crazy filmmaker. A lot of us here are crazy filmmakers, but I can work with you, gentlemen. You guys, I would assume, could work with me. I couldn't work with that individual. I don't think a lot of people could work with that individual. So you have to go, like, if this seems flawed, if this seems illegal, if this seems like you're going to regret it later on, don't work with that person. And that actually leads into my last lesson, which is a lesson a lot of people have a hard time with, even when they do learn it. Say no. If something doesn't feel right, say no. If you don't want to do it, say no. If you feel guilty that you're saying no, still say no. Because in the end of the day, that no is very important, and it's going to give you peace of mind. You may feel a little guilty for a bit, but you're going to feel better that you stayed away from something you weren't comfortable with. And that is the 3 lessons I learned.
Now, my question to you, by the way, I love this story. I honestly wish there was, you could have embellished more on this. But do we know basically if Rex did anything else? And B, did that Star Wars movie ever make the round somehow?
I don't think the Star Wars film was ever finished. Actually, I think Vitali, just because of pride, years later, I gave him the footage as well, and Vitali finished it just to say he did it. But
I want to see it.
I don't think it ever got in Rex's hands. I think I have a copy somewhere. If I ever run across a copy, I may show it to people, but it's something I'll never show publicly.
I'm just really curious for an IMDb on this.
I hope it's not on IMDb.
It
was bad. It's like I said, it's 18 years, so I'm a little fuzzy on the details. I wish I listened to Ryan. Another lessons I learned from Ryan: prep before you come on a live stream, and I never do. But but there is so many things. Like their spaceship was a school bus. They pretty much did everything in a back room. They built like a little cardboard thing as their background for like the you remember in part 2 they're in a big arena. Yeah, they made this big cardboard thing for the arena.
So did they have Star Destroyers on like wires and you could see them kind of bouncing like in Plan 9?
No, that would have been too good for them.
Okay. But you're saying it's still better than Rise of Skywalker.
Possibly.
You're a monster. Let's make out.
So I had another point to make. You had a question, or did I answer your question?
You answered mine because I wanted to know whatever happened with this thing because I kind of want to take a look at it and also find out who our mysterious filmmaker is because it'd be damned if it'd be kind of funny if I actually knew them.
I don't think you ever met them. I don't think they ever did another film again. Unfortunately, I do have other connections to this individual, so things have slowly trickled back to me. And it doesn't sound like they've had an easy life since they last talked to me. So it looks like schmoozing only gets you so far.
Fair.
That's another good lesson, especially if you're someone in that industry. What you put out there, what you project, can only go so far because then that stuff will come back to you.
Yep.
So,
well,
but I really like that. I mean, I hate to say it, but while this was a good lesson to learn, it was unfortunately also your first foray into the entertainment world. So I'm sure there's probably been like a little bit of like a bitterness after everything that's come after it, right?
There a little bit, but you know what? In the end, I think I needed that. Because, like you guys have worked in the industry for years. I know some of you have stories not too far away from mine. And if that was your first experience, that lesson, do you think that would have helped you with every other project you proceeded into?
Hardcore.
I would say so. I mean, I can't speak for everyone else, but I can't really think of any projects of my own that I've necessarily had any kind of regret on because I've always saw everything as like a learning experience. It may not have been the most lucrative and it may not have been the most showy, but certainly I've been able to gain a little bit of something from every experience I've had. But if I had to go through as much turmoil as you did from my very first time doing anything, I maybe just, I'll go ahead and just be a retail person for the rest of my life. That would scar me.
Well, the beauty of all this is, as annoying as that entire big project was, I did get one positive out of it. I got Vitali.
Yeah.
And through Vitali, I learned so much about filmmaking. Like he is a guru. He's a year younger than me and he's not professionally trained, but being with him for a few years there, he taught me about camera angles. He taught me about trick shots. And I think because I got to meet him, it kept me going. If I didn't meet him, I may have not even met most of you because I probably would not continued on with film.
I'll say that's a funny coincidence because I would probably go ahead and put you in the Vitali spot for me. Like with you doing a Central Jersey indie film and everything and being able to create that nexus of a group of entertainers and filmmakers and just cramming them all together in one space at one time. It was the jolt I had after just simply doing, Fright Fest and, scaring people to actually go ahead and go further and go beyond whatever I was doing in stand-up and actually give legitimate acting a shot without necessarily thinking I had to move to LA or move up to New York. So had I not met you, I probably wouldn't have as much experience as I've had now.
That's a very interesting thing you said because, like maybe that's how it goes. We just play it forward. You're a very outgoing, friendly guy. I'm sure there's some people out there that, maybe they're still making films because they met you and worked maybe on Sunday Best or something.
No. I'm the flashy guy with the Mustang and the glasses and the suits and everything. Outgoingness is my
You're Rex.
flamboyance.
You're Rex.
You're that guy with the glasses, huh?
Yes, I'm not Rex. I'm just Rodney. Call me Rodney.
All right,
That's my
we got
smarmy name.
Rodney, we got Rex.
You are on such an opposite end of Rex. Like I'm like I should Ryan likes to self-deprecate, as do I, but like Ryan's like one of the coolest, nicest people I've met. So it's like, yeah, it's not even the same category.
Right,
and I ruined the mood, didn't I?
It got a little, well, you know what it is? It was a little emotional on that, but I also cannot kind of understand why. You know, because this may be your last one for a while. We got to talk afterwards. Basically, there's some stuff I could probably work with you on, you know, outside of this too. So we'll talk about that too. But yeah, no, be reflective, you know, on this. Be, you know, a little deep and, you know, that whatever it is. I'm cool with that, you know.
You know what the really weird bookend of this is? I think I started on this show around April last year, so I'm kind of ending it around the same day I started it.
Yeah, because I was running into it's actually you're probably about right. Because I started the show last December 2020, and then ran into a wall because I started running out of stories and things like that. That's when the three of you, Rob first, you know, ultimately ended up coming into this because I was like, I am kind of running out of film ideas. You know, there's only so many times you can tell a story about basically, you know, getting, you know, smacked in the face with a beer bottle until people are bored with it.
Let me
we
ask
get to do
this.
the bottle ourselves one day, but you know, that's gonna be like, you know, Tales from the Film Set live on set. You know, that's gonna be a whole other thing.
Believe me, I have a thought process on that. But go ahead.
To ask a production question in the middle of the live show, have we ever had CJ on here?
No, we have not.
Because
I have to reach out to him on a few different things, actually.
Because he has a few different tales, and I'm not allowed to tell him because some of them involve SAG, but he has some interesting stories himself.
Well, I met him on a bus.
Really?
Yes, because we were being bussed over to the TV show Lights Out for the series finale, and he's the dude that sat behind me, and just striking up a conversation. We talked about Kevin Smith and, you know, his coming up through Kevin Smith during like Chasing Amy and Dogma and everything like that. And, you know, I don't really remember much about how we connected afterwards, but yeah, on like day number 3 of that big fight scene, I met him. He was sitting behind me on a bus, you know, and I don't remember what happened after that. And it's funny, I'm thinking about this now. Maybe he's got an answer on that, but I sure as heck don't. I guess I Facebook friend with him or something. I don't know.
Yeah, CJ is good like that. Yeah, if you need someone that's got a good memory, it's him. He'll just
I have a brain like a sieve, you know, just flows right out. You know?
But anyway, just to move the show along a little bit, because I mean, obviously, we haven't gotten much from Scott or Rob in regards to any regrets and any stories they may have had. Because I don't really have any, to be honest.
I really don't have any either. I mean, I've been involved in a bunch of different things where, you know, all right. So I did a film a few years ago where we ended up like shooting it like for almost 3 years on the weekends. But, you know, just going out to Long Island and shooting that film, you know, was fun to begin with, but over time it just kind of got tedious. And, you know, I wouldn't say that I didn't like the fact that I was going out there, but, you know, it was just like it was drawn out. I think that we could have, like, because the budget that we had for this particular film that we were shooting could have been expanded on if we just had something that was concrete. You know, instead of making it into a feature, we ended up, like, for financial reasons, turning it into a short, although it's a pretty impactful short. What's that?
And that dragged it along?
No, just the director that I was working with, he was like, you know, he had to have things a certain way, and you could only shoot during days when it was like cloudy or raining, you know, and to do it on the weekend.
3 years to do a short.
Nearly 3 years. Well, we were planning on making it into a feature, but it just got to the point where it was like, okay, well, you know, we got to do something with this, because for nearly 3 years, I wouldn't say 3 years total in time, but nearly 3 years on the weekends, we shot this thing, and it just, I think what we came up with was actually pretty good and everything, but to me, I'm thinking, we could have had a lot more if we would have just, worked out some things beforehand, kind of thing, or not do so many takes for that matter. It couldn't be completely perfect. At least I remember a few things we were shooting that could have been included in the film. In fact, I had ideas as far as, including people that I've met in acting classes, that kind of thing, to be a part of the film that would have sort of like pushed it, not necessarily in a different direction, but kind of added
If you don't mind
to the
me if I
story.
ask, what was the story about?
So Michael Roberts is a uh, he's
Generic
like a
name, yes.
yes,
Yeah.
he is he is a part of a dysfunctional family that gets in trouble with the law. Um, can't really find his way too much. He ends up moving to Long Island over the course of a period of time and ends up getting in trouble there. And so the final part of the film is okay, what happens next, kind of thing. So um, he's involved in a violent instance where the police are involved. But like I said, we couldn't figure out what we were going to do. So we ended up just kind of ending it like that.
So did you guys ever have a script, or it was just like you had a general idea, and as you guys would meet up, like, okay, today we're gonna try shooting this?
Well, I would say that the particular person that I was working with, he had the idea of what he wanted to do. It was just that we ended up doing different things because it sort of kind of went in that different direction or in that direction. So there was a script as far as I knew, but it changed.
Mhm.
It was constantly
So there was
changing.
never ever really anything concrete except maybe the idea of the plot. Which, by the way,
Exactly.
if you're someone who's in trouble with the law, you don't go to Long Island.
Well,
All right,
no, but see
that's that's like off the frying pan into the fire.
okay, it depends on where on Long Island you go to. If you're like way
I'm
out
speaking from
east,
Jersey. As far as I'm concerned, Staten
Yeah,
Island has a better
you're going out to
reputation.
Montauk or something like that.
exactly. If you go out to Montauk, you're not recognizable. You unless you show up wearing like a skull and bones type T-shirt. And you
Yeah,
got
but then
your
that just goes from blue collar crime to white collar crime. That's just a difference of
Yeah,
how
that's the
much money
deep part
gets
of it.
pulled.
This is the deep part of the Hamptons. Well, there's people going out to surrounded on three
Yeah,
sides by water.
there's a difference
But
between bank robbery and tax evasion.
Well, yeah, that's right. I mean, you got the Hamptons out there. You're worried about how you look, how you're perceived by the society out there. But no, really, I think the movie was good. I think it could have been better. It was just
Mhm.
that, like, I don't know. I mean, being a part of it for so long, it was like, okay, well, I know that we could have come up with something a little bit better than what we had, but it really wasn't my film, so I couldn't really have too much of a say in that. But
Well, I think that's always been like the thing when it comes to like independent film. Like if you're just doing like your own thing, regardless of, any kind of backing or anything, there still needs to be like a solid idea, a
sure,
singular vision, whether it's the producers or the directors or even the writers. If you don't have that, then yeah, everything's going to go to pot because then everything seems like a good idea until you're finally taking all these good ideas and trying to edit it together and none
well,
of it makes sense.
I mean, to be honest with you, to be direct, even, I was just there to act. I was there to
Exactly.
be involved in a project that I thought was going to do really well, and in fact, it did okay. I mean, it's more, it's available to watch on YouTube if anybody wants to watch it. But
Is it?
oh, yes, it is. I'll send you the
We're
link later.
available to watch on YouTube too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, to be involved in a project was just something that I wanted to do. I just didn't realize it was going to take so long to actually make it, from a feature to a short kind of thing. So, because of budgetary reasons, I mean, you can't really. There's only so much you can do when you're working with somebody that has the idea, but not necessarily the direction on
plan.
how. Yeah,
The clarity, yeah.
right.
Now, I kind of like the idea. I think it's something I've been wanting to do for years because my schedule is so crazy. I can't just take off a week to even shoot anything anymore. But I always kind of like the idea of like, okay, well, maybe every other Saturday for the next year, me and these individuals meet up and we'll put together a film, and eventually we'll
Mhm.
have a full length feature. I never got to it, but it's just kind of interesting to hear someone who tried it. Now, do you think if they kind of kept their vision and they kept focus, that schedule would have worked?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, we were shooting some days during the week. I mean, obviously it
Mm.
was, my schedule was a little different, but mainly weekends. But yeah, no, yeah, I'm saying that it could have been it could have been shot within that time frame. I think.
Another quick question for you. I know you were just an actor on it, but did they have any other actors? How many actors in total were in this film? How many characters?
Ooh. Um, just my I was the main character. We had like two supporting actors, probably four or five added actors into the film that were like,
Background.
not
Mm.
necessarily background. They had their particular role that they were playing, but they were
But
more.
anyone
But
who, if they quit in the middle of a very long production, would have really screwed up the film. Besides yourself, who was the main character.
oh, I'll have to get back to you on that one. I mean, I
No,
was
but I
more
mean
or
that's
less
the
the
idea. That
focus. Yeah, no, I was more or less the focus to this whole, you know, the film, because it was based on my character type, So as
but that's
far
also
as
saying that they basically needed you for a 3-year commitment.
Right.
I
no,
mean, that's
not
hard for
necessarily.
any
Not
professional to go ahead and say, "Oh yeah, you can contact me in like 6 months to a year, and I'll still be available
Well,
at
there's
that
the
time."
well,
Ethan Hawke movie about the kid that grew up. Remember, where they
which one?
timed like they filmed it over the
Boyhood.
course of like 14. Yeah, that was like 14 years or something.
Hmm.
Well, are you talking about the one where they go back to them every 7 years and see how they are?
It's there like every 2 or 3 years they kept going back and filming more scenes for this movie.
Oh,
And it was
I
like
know there.
the kid started out at like 4 years old, and then he legit grew till the age of like 18 or 19 years old
Oh,
because the film they filmed it over like 14 or 15 years.
But that's
And he
making the
yeah
commitment. That's
yeah
saying, "Okay, this time this year we'll go back and
yeah,
we'll do this," because that's the singular vision.
and they're
and
Well,
probably
even in
able to
that,
like
they're
cram
not
it out.
they're not really acting. They're actually just kind of documenting this kid's life. But a film, like I think, I don't know if you individuals could have ever experienced this. When I started getting a lot more deeper into the production end of film and hiring actors, it was always hard to get someone to just commit for a day or two. So like I could picture how hard it could be to say, "Hey, yeah, I had this idea for a film. By the way, we're gonna shoot it once every Saturday for like the next
but
year and a half.
now
Will you be available every Saturday?"
that was just okay. I mean, I don't want to say that it was the intention to shoot it for that long, this particular film that we did, but it just ended up being that way.
Hmm.
At
But you
some
committed
point,
yourself to it,
That's
and
I
I
this
think
did.
that's
organization on
commendable.
I
that's this
did. No,
organization on the form of the director though.
yeah, no, I
Mhm.
committed. You know, there were times where I was thinking, okay, well, this isn't really going anywhere. And that we kind of discussed things, not necessarily a plan. A plan probably would have been a little bit better for us to at least establish
Although
and everything. But
the question
Well,
does come across, and this is just a hypothetical to you, Robert. Had you not been the lead, had you been maybe one of those 5 or 6, lesser incidental people, would you have committed to that time span? Would you have committed to still going back all those times?
I think so because it was a
hmm,
project that I was involved in. I mean, I
hmm.
like to at least jump in and if I'm asked something that sounds even crazy, I mean, I might think about doing it, whether or not I want to do it, kind of thing. But if it's something that I'm capable of doing, even if it just takes a couple of days to shoot it, yeah, I'd do it. I'd go back.
Good man. Good man.
Directors, casting directors, this is the man you want
Yes.
if you need
Robert
someone to
Leckington,
commit.
by the way.
That is dedication.
Leckington.
Still learning my
As
secret
long
name.
as they're willing to work around my schedule, that kind of
This
thing.
one's easy.
Just point up.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, I know. It's
So, is there any lessons you learned from doing this?
Well, I don't.
Like things that kind of stuck with you after this. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of frustrating things in this experience, especially like, oh, you're doing it for 3 years and it doesn't seem like they have a focused direction. Do you? Is there any other projects you now go into and go, okay, I'm never gonna do X again?
Well, I seem to be cast for a lot of the same type of character type. So, I think that it would be nice, possibly, to be cast in something different, but, for what I'm auditioning for, that kind of thing, I'm happy to just be involved, So there really isn't anything that I wouldn't not do within reason, but, I'm I'm open. That's just me. I'm willing to do what it takes to get the job done. So
Which I think is a good lesson to have, especially considering a lot of actors maybe want to break out of certain, I guess, holes that they end up being put into based upon maybe look or their sound or something that kind of like pigeonholes them. And then think about every actor that you see in like a mobster movie or an Italian movie like that. And
mhm.
Every
it's
Chaz
like the same
Palminteri
people
movie.
every time because that's what they're in. But God forbid they go ahead and try to do something else, something different from what they are. But
Right.
they at least acknowledge what is their strengths in some cases
Sure.
and they lean into it. So it's good to recognize what you like to do, what you feel comfortable doing, and not being afraid to take those opportunities when they come to you. Even if you do want to do something different, those times will come. But
Sure.
you shouldn't necessarily brown your nose at anything that's,
Right.
kind of still within that same wheelhouse because it's
I'm
still
yeah. No,
work.
I'm definitely I'm auditioning for the roles that my agent puts me out for, my agents. So, which is mainly that type of blue collar type person. I've auditioned as a janitor on several different like TV shows,
I've actually
episodics.
been a janitor in real life, so
There
I
you
can do
go.
that.
I mean,
So was Goodwill Hunting.
yes, yes, yes. Goodwill Hunting. There you go. That's a good. Have the monologue between Sean and Will when they're sitting on the park bench. I usually
Yep.
use that particular monologue whenever I'm doing different things. So yeah, great film. Love that.
Yeah. Either Ryan was basically just really okay. I was gonna say either he's really reflective because it was just.
Yeah, I was about to say,
What happened?
like you froze.
You froze in this. Frankly, it did not look like the best look that you could have had.
I froze.
Yeah, you look like this.
For about 30 seconds, you're just like very reflective, perhaps in complete bliss, over the story.
Okay. You know what? Since we're talking regrets, I regret not having better internet.
There you go.
Actually, that may be a problem for me when my mother-in-law moves in here. We have to upgrade it again.
Uh-oh.
I may have to at this point because I do not want that to happen again. God forbid if anyone actually screenshot that. And I'm telling that to you, Scott. Do not screenshot that. Do not use it.
You know what the sad thing? My new job, it's going to prevent me from being on the show, but at the same time, it's going to give me a discount on my internet service.
There you
So
go.
I could have actually upgraded.
Nice.
But
All right.
anyway,
We
Scott,
gotta, yes,
any
we have about
regrets on
10
your
minutes
end?
left.
Besides, not using
I've been
my
rolling
FaceTime
in my
now.
head which way to go with this, on the grounds of the mean story about acting class, which I'm thinking I'm going to lean towards another day. And then the story basically piggybacking a little bit off of Rob's story. By the way, if you want to know about the acting class, that belongs to that guy. Feel free to take a look. Don't mention the name. That I'm going to save for another day. Thanks.
Oh,
But
okay.
don't mention that name. But
No, I recognize that person.
his
George
reputation.
Perkington.
Yes, George Perkington the third. Of the Nantucket Perkingtons.
Esquire.
Perkingtons.
He went to school.
So back in 2011, there was a film that I had done in the grass in my expensive, brand new, getting a job back in the real world, $400 suit, and shot this scene in the middle of the grass in said suit. The footage itself got lost, and the project, fast forward 4 years later, he decides to reshoot the scene. I won't mention the name of the film in this case, not going to mention any of that. So here we are now. It's 4 years later now, 2015. And he has the scene, and it's a nice setup. It's in a municipal hall. It had a really nice backdrop. He upgraded a couple of things in there. And honestly, he got this 3-foot tall flamethrower, that breathed fire. And it was this was like the filthiest guy I have ever met in my life. I mean, like Andrew Dice Clay on like pure like meth, heroin, speed, and everything. And the dude is just this 3-foot tall guy, and he is just sitting there, just making the most obscene, rude comments. And it was actually really kind of funny.
So you're saying he was from Atlantic City?
Dude, he basically could teach Vegas some stuff. But I was there. I had to redo the scenes and everything like that. And again, a better setup. It included a makeout scene that I was not involved in personally. However, it involved, in fact, 2 women. And I was like, okay, this is unusual. Okay, why not? Because I had broken up with one of them 2 weeks prior after dating for 4 months because she had, shall we say, friendly legs. Is that a phraseology I want to use?
Okay.
Well, yes, she was not willing to commit after 4 months, and apparently had various guys in her life. I'm trying to be really diplomatic about it. So anyway,
she was hot to try. It's easy to say.
Yes. We split up, and then it was a very poor breakup because I've always been terrible at breakups. I don't have the skill set for that. So it was really awkward, really uncomfortable. And like a week and a half later, I see her again as she has a scene where she has to sit there and make out with another woman. While, by the way, I'm in the middle of this like 3-page monologue that I have to do.
Wow.
To add to this, I mentioned the fact that this was in a municipal hall. What was interesting about it is this was in like Eastern Pennsylvania, nice group of people, but they're not really people that are experienced and familiar with the film set, and they don't have tales from the film set. And as a result, they're excited to be the background actors. They're excited to sit there and listen to the scenes and all this kind of stuff in a building that was offering $2 beers.
Wow.
Oh, I'm sure they were the most polite bunch that never caused any
50
trouble.
Background, $2 beers, and a guy behind the bar for the entire 10-hour shoot.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't.
I'm like, yeah, I can see the problem, and Rob is like, yeah, I'd like a $2 beer.
Yeah.
I can see 10 different problems here. Like my mind's just all the wheels are turning, but I really want to see like which multiverse we travel down here.
With the 2 girls kissing. Right. The 2 women
yes.
kissing.
And one of them being your ex 4 months, and somebody who admitted that they didn't want to see you on stage for America's Got Talent because they were jealous it was you up on stage and not them.
Uh-oh.
True story. That was kind of a red flag. But so at this point, basically, thankfully for that job, it honestly wasn't a bad day. We got quality lunch, which was, Eastern Pennsylvania pizza. I think they got it from probably like Aldi or something like that. It was nice for like 50 people.
Aldi's.
Yeah, Aldi makes good things. They don't make good pizza. But fast forward now 7 years later, we're not done with it yet. It started in 2000. I came on board in 2011. I reshot my scenes in 2015, and now here we are in 2022, and it's still sitting on my IMDb as in production.
So do you know that everything's been filmed and they just didn't finalize it, or?
I don't know, because all I see now is this dude basically taking half-naked pictures of his very scrawny but somehow pulling out a really impressive six-pack ab.
That's the same person that you just sent the link up, right?
No. That guy,
Yeah.
is a story for another day. That is a an acting school or acting class story from hell, which I think we should do a show on. Because some of us may have stories like this, and this is one that's worth going into on a lot of different fronts. I was going to choose between doing, talking about this film and talking about that class, but I'm going to say none of that. No,
I realize a lot of these stories from Tales from the Film Set are stories we can't tell. Like as we were sitting here, I was thinking, that Star Wars film was the craziest story I had for years, and then I realized I actually have one that is also incredibly crazy, but it involves heavily on a. It involves a friend of mine who actually asked me after the production just bombed. He's like, please never talk about this with anyone. So it's like, it's this great story. It's in my head, but I can never tell it.
Well, see, that's why we need the live show. When we do the live show for charity purposes. Yeah.
Since I don't have anything to add to any of these tales myself, there is like a common theme that I would say is present in all three of your stories, whether it be working as an editor for months without pay, acting in a movie that took about 3 years and became shorter than what was planned, or simply working on a film with an ex that you shouldn't, and with a sleazy guy who still hasn't finished it in almost or over a decade.
Over a decade.
Hindsight.
And basically watching her make out with someone and being like, girl, she's making out with. She's cute.
Oh.
And she's actually excited to talk
I think the
about
biggest
it.
thing for anyone that does acting or production or
No.
anything like that is, if you were going to do something, do it quick. Because when things take too long, problems will come up. And of course, hindsight being 2020, you guys all have the time to reflect on this stuff now and see how bad it was. But probably in the time, at the time there, everything probably seemed a little bit more cool and copacetic than you could manage it. Looking back at it all now and looking at how much time has gone by,
I think in terms of hindsight, I think that the world of film is a little similar to Dark Souls. You just have to die a whole bunch of times, and eventually you'll start learning the right moves.
Yep.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
Basically.
That's fun.
We got to wrap this up. Only about 2 minutes left, but JT, I want to thank you for everything, man. It's going to be a little weird at this point. I mean, I know, listen, we'll figure out ways to basically, if you can pinch hit or anything like that. And, I would love to have you back on in any way possible, but obviously work comes first. And I get that. And that, you're my dude, and, I have all the respect in the world for you. So thank you for, my God, everything, for just straight up, just thank you for just being straight awesome. For all the years I've known you, thank you for just being straight up awesome. So,
thank you, sir, for all the kind words, and thank you, Rob, for all the sarcasm.
Yeah, I was gonna say, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Scott, for all the kind words, and thank you, Rob, for all the fake tears.
Thank you, both of you. Fake pride. I have not.
Right. And you know what? I felt kind of bad about
be around, and whenever we need him, if we need to call on, we have a burner phone, and we can call him up when he's taking everybody off the raft.
JT's great.
So, JT, congratulations on the new job. It's going to be different without you. I'm not going to say better. I'm not going to say worse. Just different.
But we got to wrap this up. Production's like time, capital letters. So thanks.
We're having a moment, damn it.
Yeah. By the way,
screw him. Close the show.
Facebook, YouTube, and also Twitch, and then Film Set Tales on Twitter. For me, I'm Scott Schertzen, Robert Leckington, Mr. JT McGuire, Mr. Ryan Reagan. This is Tales from the Film Set. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.